All right, folks, it's a beautiful day at the old ballpark, so put your mustard on that dog, grab that bag of peanuts, sip that cold one, and let's meet our Tiger of the day.
Today's Tiger video is Pete Burnside. He is represented by a 1960 Topps base card number 261 with an on-card auto, slabbed by Stats Grading. If you love forgotten Tiger stories, guys who showed up, battled, and quietly mattered, today's deep dive is for you. Because Pete Burnside wasn't a headline. But in 1959 and 1960, Detroit found real value in a left-handed arm that came with a nasty twist. A screwball. Burnside had bounced around the majors before Detroit, flashing talent but never fully sticking. Then, in October of 1958, the Tigers took a shot, buying him from the Giants' pipeline, believing his arm could play if the pieces finally fit. And the first big piece was something new he brought to spring training: a screwball. This wasn't just a, hey, I learned a new grip kind of thing. Burnside leaned into it, worked on it in winter ball, came to camp with confidence, and Detroit noticed. The Tigers weren't looking for style points. They needed outs. They needed innings. They needed someone who could get right-handed hitters uncomfortable. So Detroit used Burnside in a very specific way in 1959, exclusively out of the bullpen. And that's where the story gets good, because 1959 became his first full, uninterrupted season in the majors. He appears 30 times, and right around midsummer, he goes on a stretch where he's simply tough to score on, exactly what a second division team needs from the pen when the rotation isn't giving you 7 every night. If you're a Tigers fan who remembers how seasons can grind, you know what a reliable arm means, not glamorous. But you're down one, tied late, or your starter exits early, and someone has to put out the fire. Burnside gave Detroit that in 1959. Steady appearances, different looks, and a pitch, his screwball, that made hitters late and off balance. Then, 1960 rolls around, and Burnside shows enough early that Detroit starts thinking bigger. He begins in the bullpen again, but the early results are strong, and soon he's pushed into starting. Now, here's where his Tigers run hits its peak. He finishes 1960 as one of the team's workhorses. 15 starts, 113 and 2/3 innings, 7 wins, 7 losses, 4.28 ERA. And he had a couple of games that jump off the page for Tigers history fans. On July 9th, he throws a complete game and beats the Kansas City Athletics. Then, on July 17th, he does it again. Another complete game, this time against the New York Yankees, winning a tight one. That's the stuff. That's a pitcher taking the ball and saying, "You're not burning the bullpen today." But baseball timing can be brutal. After the 1960 season, the league expands and teams have to make choices about who to protect. Detroit leaves Burnside exposed, and the Senators grab him 8th overall in the expansion draft. Just like that, a guy who gave you a full season of relief value and then turned into a part-time starter is gone. So what's the Pete Burnside Tigers legacy in one sentence? He's the example of how a team can find value by putting a pitcher in the right lane. 1959, bullpen stability. 1960, earned a shot to start and delivered some real memorable outings. Did you know? Burnside's screwball wasn't just a Tigers gimmick. He learned it from a teammate earlier in his career and sharpened it in winter ball before Detroit ever saw him in camp. And in winter ball, he even tossed a 1-0 shutout where, despite being known as a weak hitter, he got the game-winning hit. Pete Burnside might not be a household name, but for Tigers fans who love the deep cuts, his 1959-60 run is exactly the kind of story that deserves a spotlight. If you enjoyed this deep dive Tigers bullpen story, drop a like, subscribe, and comment.